The NASCAR Cup and O'Reilly Series. Send it in Sin City. We help you cash in on Viva Las Vegas with our best bets for the occasion. All this and more next on the Backroad.
I don't drive a Monte Carlo, and my truck ain't painted black. It ain't got a big white number 3 turning left around the track.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Backroad. It is In Between Media's NASCAR betting show. Elliot Hicks and Seth Woolcock here to talk some Las Vegas this weekend. Seth, buddy, the season is in full swing now.
Elliot, when you're down and out like I was last week, hurt and unavailable to do the show, shout out to our boy Byron, of course, for filling in for me. Appreciate that. But you start taking the little things for granted. And all of a sudden, whether it's cashing some big bets like we did on Sunday or getting some new markets or some new promos out this week like we did, you really start taking those for what they are, and they're little wins, and they accumulate to a big, thick bankroll. So excited to be back with you. Excited to be in the thick of it here now that we're back on our second oval for the second straight week, non-super speedway edition.
Yeah, man, no doubt about it. And honestly, a pretty exciting night across the board for us here. We will start off in the rear view reviewing our big weekend at Phoenix. In the Horizon forecast, we'll break down all there is to know about Las Vegas as we head out to Sin City. And in the parking garage props, we will give you our best bets for the Vegas race weekend. No bonus show this week, but always lots of bonus content over on our new sub-channel. The_Backroad is where you'll go to see that. We'll be collaborated with it, of course, after the live gets done. I've been throwing up shorts every week. We throw up bonus episodes. We talked about Formula One last week, IndyCar and Truck Series about a week ago, or the week before that, pardon me. But either way, the place to go, the_Backroad, to get all our bonus content. Lots of fun over there. And Seth, some new fun. It's always fun over there. It's always a great time. I'm saying fun too much again. I got to quit that right now. But in any case, lots of excitement going on now in the IBT Racing family as well.
Yes, sir. That is our exclusive community where you can go ahead and join that, get free access to our analysts and memorabilia giveaways. And also, if you want to upgrade, you can get our full betting cards and the betting model, plus the head-to-head matchup contest, which has been just a lot of fun this year, Elliot. You are battling up there with Chris for the lead right now, and we also have everything going on in the IBT football family. A little bit of a downtime, but free agency, we're chatting about that this week. And then IBT golf family just suffered a terrible loss today. Colin Morikawa pulls out of the tournament. All the boys and girls were on him heavily. And DFS, you do not get any type of early exit, money back, void bet, nothing like that. So they're licking their wounds over there. The IBT Entertainment Family Survivor 50 League going strong, top 3 right now. So hoping someone can dethrone me over there. And then Steve just put out some more movie predictions here for Rotten Tomato scores you can bet on the prediction markets like Kalshi as well for both the month of March and April. And then, yes, as you mentioned, Elliot, we have some giveaways going on right now. Thanks to our friend Trav. He's one of the earliest and biggest supporters of the IBT Racing family. He wants to give away 4 memberships until the end of the season. These can't go to paid members, but if you're a free member who's been floating around in there and you don't have access to the betting model and the picks and the contest and you want to, this is your chance to do it for free. Or if you're not even in the Discord right now, just go to in-betweenmedia.com/chat and then go into the giveaway channel, give a thumbs up or an emoji to the giveaway message, and you'll automatically be entered that. The next 4 Backroads, Elliot, we're going to give a premium subscription away from our friend Trav. Awesome guy, also from Pennsylvania. Also have to imagine Trav ripped some bush lights and icy lights as well. So appreciate him doing that. And what a great way to just start the season. And it really puts in perspective, like, hey, we're doing the right things because we have people like Trav who are so gracious with their time and bankroll that he can spare to, get more members in that community, Elliot.
Yeah, man, that was very kind to him. Thanks again, Trav. And that'll be fun to look forward to over the next month in the Discord there for that giveaway. So if you have always been thinking about jumping in, now is the time to do it. As we bring up the comments here, shout out to everyone live on the YouTube. Marcus, our resident Christopher Bell fan, didn't get his third win in Spring Phoenix in a row, so not the best weekend there, but almost there, Marcus. We got Stan. I'll go with Willie B for the win, although I'm not very confident. Hey, get a little more confident in your guy. We'll talk more about him later. Nick jumping in as well. Got a few different picks to talk about. Joey Logano, Josh Berry, Ty Gibbs, and Ross Chastain. Definitely a couple of those guys on our card that we'll look at later. Chris checking in as well, our resident model expert. Steele going with Brad Keselowski this week. Another guy we'll talk about a little bit. Good to know we're already kind of on the pulse of the viewers here, Seth.
Hey man, anytime that Steely Dan is throwing out some Brad K picks early in the program, you know you're doing something right. I was on him, I wanted to be on him last week heading into the weekend, didn't get invested. Kind of happy I didn't, just the way the entire RFK roster turned out last week. But and Bob checking in as well, saying I like 4 drivers at the moment. The 5, the 11, the 19, the 1 are my picks to look for, and some Carson Hocevar love as well, as always. Seen a lot of Hocevar love in the comments after the show, Elliot. Guys, let us know if you're not here with us live on Thursday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Go ahead and drop those comments below after the fact as well. We want to hear from you. Who are your picks? Who are your predictions? Or come over, join the IBT Racing family right now for free. Enter the giveaway, and then also put your picks over there because all of a sudden, like, I think Carson Hocevar in a year or two, he might have a run at the most popular driver because people are really digging what this kid's putting down right now on the track.
Yeah, man, I think when he gets a win, which if my season-long betting card has anything to say about it, it'll be this year. When he gets a win, he'll really blow up. The Keselowski, I forgot I was ripping the Brad shirt tonight.
There we go.
He's looking for victory lane for the first time since Darlington in 24. And being on the same page as Bob is always a good thing. I've got bets on all 4 of those drivers that Bob mentioned. We'll talk about that here shortly. Want to shout out the Apple Podcast listeners as well. Leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Easiest way to support us, give this video a thumbs up and a like, and subscribe both to this channel and to that Backroad sub-channel we showed you just a minute ago. Go ahead in the Discord if you want to have some fun there, and all the great stuff that we've got going on here. Links in the episode description in case you don't want to step away right now, which we don't want you to, because we're going to get rolling here. Take a look back in the rear view at Phoenix.
Baby, that's how you do it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. You are the fans. No way! We did it! Yeah!
It was an exciting weekend out in the desert Phoenix Raceway. That doubleheader with IndyCar going on out there too. In the Cup race, Ryan Blaney, the dominant car once again, overcomes 2 loose wheels, and that 2-tire call puts him out ahead of the other kind of dominant car of the day, Christopher Bell. Like I said earlier, Bell was looking for his 3rd consecutive Spring Phoenix win. Wow. Still had a great day, and with a couple more green flag laps, I think Blaney was probably toast. But especially for our cards, glad Ryan Blaney held on.
Yeah, you and Brian and Chris and everyone in the IBT Racing family early in the week was on Blaney at around that 6-1, 6 plus 650 price tag we were seeing out there. I just wanted to see, what he was going to look like off the truck. I saw enough on Saturday that I was like, hey, I'm ready to get invested. I thought about, hey, should I also maybe hedge myself with Penske because Logano looked pretty good, on Saturday as well, getting that pole. But you really knew, like, Ryan Blaney, something when you get to Phoenix and just when we have a little bit of tire wear, Elliot, and shout out to NASCAR for the change in the horsepower and Goodyear continuing to try to get it right. Like, the racing is getting a lot better. You're seeing a lot more passing. Like a couple of years ago, if Ryan Blaney gets a couple of those loose wheels like he did on Sunday, I don't know if he's making up all those passes like he did. But it was just an absolute display. It was a clinic he put on, getting through the field multiple times. Christopher Bell, way quicker than I expected as well. He wasn't really liking his car as much in practice. But overall, like, what more can you say about Ryan Blaney? We talked about it. I think he was number 1 in both of our power rankings coming into the season, and for good reason. And he's now not only showed it on places that we thought he would, like Phoenix, and also on the super speedways, but all of a sudden he was the fastest car for, majority of that COTA race as well, Elliot.
Yeah, Blaney has to be one of the championship favorites. And I think I probably have a title future on him somewhere in there. If I don't, I probably should get on that. Thankfully, though, I was on his outright. At a plus 475, man, a 6-1 would have been nice. But that combined with the unit share I put down on it, it's my biggest individual outright hit ever. Of course, volume better, smaller bets. I'm not throwing out 6, 7, 8 units on these bets like some of you guys are. I envy that ability to throw down that unit share. But in any case, Blaney outright, Ford outright at plus 240, Blaney top 5 minus 110 also hitting on my card. And then I went with a lot of matchups last week, and thankfully most of them end up hitting. Chris Buescher, you were kind of downplaying RFK, but pretty decent day for Buescher. I hit the over Zilisch at minus 130. That was a slam dunk. Over Chastain boosted to plus 139. Then I had Hocevar over Barry at even money, same as Chase Elliott over Joey Logano, and a Ford over Chevy, if I didn't already mention that. So the matchups, again, not normally wanting to throw out that many matchups, but when you can hit 5 in a week, along with a big time outright, best week of the year by far, and in a really, really good spot. And you are too, Seth.
Yeah, this was the gainer of the week, right? This was where we were in double-digit unit profits, which we love to see. Gets us well back into the green for the season. I came with you guys on that Ryan Blaney outright, grabbed a boost Sunday morning at BetRivers for 1.5 units. I'm going to keep betting Tyler Reddick top 10s until they fail me. Grabbed a minus 106 at FanDuel again on Sunday morning. Finally got in the W column of the head-to-head matchup contest as well with Ryan Blaney, minus 117 boosted again at BetRivers. Thank you to our friends out there in Pittsburgh over Joey Logano. And then Ty Gibbs, plus 145 against Cindric. And they actually left this up mid-race. Chris was messaging us in the Discord. DraftKings thought this race went green at like 4:45. I almost thought about going back and tripling down on the Ty Gibbs over Cindric because I really liked the long-run speed Gibbs was showing us. So very, very happy. I didn't. I should have though. But either way, I just really think this was a clean race, Elliot, because what I saw on Saturday was I thought 2311 was going to be fast. I thought Joe Gibbs Racing was going to be fast, and I thought Penske was going to be fast. Like everyone else, you could kind of miss me on. I forget who it was. Maybe it was I think it was Between the Boxes over there in the community as well. He drops on Sunday. It's like, hey, does anyone like Erik Jones 8-1 for a top 10? Erik Jones slides in that number 43 car into that 10th position. So good hit on him, and good kind of talking that out because I did think that was a good number. So it was really like the usual suspects. He had Michael McDowell up there, Elliot, who had a nice top 10 run. Hendrick did do fine, like better than I thought they were going to. William Byron, P7, Kyle Larson, P3. But right now, I think, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, I think Ford and Toyota kind of have an upper hand right now with Chevy and the switch of that body.
It's all about this week. Phoenix is a track where Hendrick, historically not that great.
That's fair.
They were kind of lucky to get the P3 and the P7 that they did. Race winning speed was just not there, but it really hasn't been there in the next gen era for Hendrick at Phoenix. So this week going to Vegas, Darlington the week after that, which, man, from what the drivers are saying, Darlington's going to be a crazy race with tire wear and all that. Really excited to talk about that next week. But yeah, with Hendrick, it is really all about how Vegas goes for them. It's a great track. Maybe one of the 3 or 4 best for Hendrick. If we don't see that kind of dominance that I'm predicting will happen from HMS, then I feel like you start to worry. Phoenix, though, I was expecting the same thing. I mean, had really not a lot of Hendrick unit share. Had the Blaney outright, Bell outright. Was Ford over Chevy. Even without the Toyota, I knew that Chevrolet was going to be behind at Phoenix. So really didn't surprise me there. Not really worried about Hendrick too much unless they really suck at Vegas.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very fair point. Honestly, Kyle Larson was much quicker than I thought he was going to be early in that race. We saw as soon as some tire wear kicked in stage 1, he was kind of more dropping to the rear and then really, went to work on that rig throughout the course of the race. Same with Willie B and got it done. Chase Elliott not looking so hot right now, but this is kind of what we've come to expect at some point from him. Of course, no Alex Bowman in the car, T's and P's out to him right now as well. And like I'm with Chris here in the chat, Elliot. Like there's nothing better than like a squad ride large outright like everyone was on last week. And even though he was the favorite, even though it was pretty juiced by the end of the week, there was still value to be had. So it was just a lot of fun to watch that, especially because you give that out a lap or two, man. Like Christopher Bell was charging, and he was charging quickly.
Yeah, hey, it was still a great finish and a good weekend out there in Phoenix. I missed the live ending to the O'Reilly race. Didn't have any money on it, as both Brian and I talked about last week. Jesse Love, dominant car, leads 114 laps. Justin Allgaier, inevitable in the desert, though, taking the win for the number 7. Any thoughts on the O'Reilly race from you?
No, I mean, it was pretty, kind of what you expected, right? Like Jesse Love picks up where he left off at Phoenix. So that was great to see. You knew Gator was going to be out there at some point. It was a really hard race to bet. Finally, we're getting some top 10 markets back out in the O'Reilly series streets right now. So that was great to see. And it was one of those that I think the best cars really kind of got it done for the most part. I was kind of gun shy on this one because like my heart wanted to say, hey, William Byron should probably be in this mix and probably should be winning this race. But like William Byron did what William Byron tends to do when he gets down in the lower series. Like it's just a mistake on pit road or a loose wheel. Something always seems to happen to this guy that really made Gator and Jesse Love really great values from both an outright and placement prop perspective last week.
Yeah, and I was pleading to the books last week. Give us some O'Reilly top 10 odds right after the show. Apparently, it was FanDuel or somebody put them up. I didn't get on them last week. We are definitely on a lot of them this week.
We are back.
If they do have the O'Reilly top 10s week in, week out, it's a market that I will spend money on each and every week for sure.
Yep,
so hey, we are looking forward to getting to the bets. And we got plenty of them, as I've been teasing. We got to start to break down the Vegas track first. Let's take a look ahead to the Las Vegas weekend in the Horizon Forecast. Looking ahead to how the weekend is going to look in the Cup Series, just your normal 36 entries. Alex Bowman, unfortunately, out of the 48 once again. Anthony Alfredo, respectable enough on Sunday in the 48 car, was running in the top 10 thanks to pit strategy before getting wiped out in one of those big crashes. This week, though, it is Justin Allgaier getting the super sub call in the 48. Definitely some more upside there with Lil Gator and at a track where he's been pretty good at too. We don't have any bets on this 48 car. Do you think there's any upside to making the swap to Allgaier here this week?
I mean, yeah, like for sure. Like if for Hendrick it makes sense. Like I like that they went to Alfredo first, a guy who puts in an incredible amount of laps in their sim program every single week, gives them a lot of feedback on their setups and such. But I think if you're looking for someone who can go out there and just get you a top 15, get you a top 20, I think that's Gator, especially with not only the speed we've seen from Hendrick at Las Vegas in the next gen era, but Alex Bowman specifically has been a really, really great driver here in Sin City, really throughout his career, but in the next gen era as well. So I definitely think there is upside. I'm glad he's getting this opportunity, and you know they got to salvage what they can of this 48 car season at this point.
Yeah, 0 lead lap finishes for the 48 after crashing out, and yeah, this one hurts. Vegas, one of Alex's 3 to 4 best tracks. Hopefully it's not a deal where we're having to figure out every week, okay, who's going to be in the car this week. Like in 2016 when Dale Jr. missed half a season, we had to go back and forth. It'd be fun to pull a legend out of retirement to take the car if it's a long-term thing like we had Jeff Gordon in the 88, but that's neither here nor there this week. In the O'Reilly Series, 41 entries for 38 spots, including, I love when at Vegas you have the Vegas-inspired paint schemes like Ryan Ellis and the O2 there, the little poker chips and stuff like that. There will be some DNQs over there, and it's a pretty stacked field overall too. Cole Custer making his return in the number 0 car. SS Greenlight on paper, probably being prepared out of that Haas factory team shop. So who knows on Custer, but he'll be in the 0 this week. Connor Zilisch is back in the number 1 car. Chandler Smith back for another ride in the number 5. Carson Quapple in the JRM 9 this week, not foisted off the DGM. Chase Briscoe making a rare O'Reilly start. I think this is the last race Brent Cruz is going to miss, maybe next week too, but either way, Briscoe in the number 19 this week. Raja Caruth in the 32 because Kyle Larson is in the 88 this week. Daniel Dye running the second AM car in the 52. Schedule for this week is just the weekend because trucks are off once again. Noon is O'Reilly P&Q on Saturday, 2:30 Cup P&Q. The LiUNA goes green at 5:35 p.m. Eastern in the O'Reilly Series. Stage lengths 45, 45, 110. Cup Series 4:13 on Sunday is your green flag in Eastern time. For the Pennzoil 400, stage lengths 80, 85, and 102. Hey, I miss the trucks on weekends like this, but O'Reilly and Cup definitely still going to put on some good racing in Vegas.
Hey, I'm fired up, man. The O'Reilly series and the truck series really from that standpoint too, just doing a really nice job this season, Elliot, of putting really, really talented drivers in the entry list for these series. So that's been really fun. And Las Vegas just as a whole, dude, like this is a track I feel like we have a good hold on, right? I feel like every single year, and usually who you see show up on Saturdays, often going to show up on Sundays as well, right? And, you know, you mentioned those comp tracks, like I'm looking at a lot of Kansas again. I'm looking at a lot of Vegas. And then you can factor in those other tracks as well, like Michigan, like your Charlotte, like your Texas. So it just feels like we have a really good feel for this, even though there's only a second oval. I feel better coming into this week with the knowledge of this track and just these drivers at this point on one oval than I did a week ago, where I was kind of scrambling a little bit on Thursday.
Yeah, it definitely makes things a little easier to handicap when it's more traditional. The 1.5 mile intermediate, you mentioned Kansas is the primary, Michigan, Charlotte, Texas, other tracks to watch out for. In this race, though, will be good to look back on when we get to Chicagoland in the summer. The track is fairly similar, going to be a little more worn than Vegas is after not being raced on in a couple of years. But another one of those tracks that I feel like we haven't forgotten about it. It hasn't been available to race on since we've been doing this show, so we haven't
good point.
compared really to anything, but one of those tracks where it's also going to be worth talking about and intermingling in this group as the year goes on.
Yeah, it will be, man. Chicagoland. I've seen a lot of the videos of like people like peeking through the fence and trying to get to the infield without technically trespassing. Those types of videos, and it's always cool, man. I thought Chicagoland definitely deserved a revamp. I love Kentucky too, just being a Western Pennsylvania guy who, we could get down there pretty quickly. But I think that's a great market. And I think they explored that with Chicago Street, and they're going to continue to have success up there. Have you ever had a Chicago dog, Elliot? I've never had one, but it's certainly on my bucket list once we get out to that sector.
Yeah, so I haven't had a Chicago dog. I've been out to Chicago a couple of times, but a Chicago dog either it has like some sort of dill relish or something to do with pickles,
Yes.
right? Now,
Yes.
I'm not a big pickle guy, so I haven't gone all in on the Chicago dog, but I will say the hot dogs that I have had in Chicago, definitely top notch.
What about the Chicago deep dish? Because I'm not like really a deep dish type of pizza guy. I'm more of a, New York thin crust, a little bit of flop on there type slice guy.
Yeah, we were out there for New Year's Eve, 24 into 25.
Okay.
Before the New Year's Eve nighttime shenanigans, had a wonderful deep dish Chicago pizza. Don't remember if it was Lou Malnati's or not, but definitely one of those traditional Chicago spots.
Eat it with a fork? If
it gets a little messy, sure, but you can can handle it,
Okay. Two hands, though. Two hands. Looks like a two-hand type thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Probably two hands. What this sounds like is we need to bug our fellow IBT contributor, Jake Perry, see if he's got that spare bedroom open for July 4th
right?
in Chicago. Anyway, getting into the trends for this week, though, I want to talk about the betting model a little bit.
Sure.
Because for those of you who've been paying attention to it, we have a letter grade system. It was a traditional, like your school grades kind of system, A's, B's, C's down to F's. And we operated it kind of like those school grades were, which meant that anything under a 60 was an F. And that often meant plenty of drivers who may have had a little bit of value in the model were considered failing. So you and Chris got together and changed the grading system a little bit starting this week.
Yeah, shout out to Chris. He's doing an awesome job over there, really spearheading the projections this season. And, we really talked about it. I was like, yeah, it does suck that we have, a majority of the field in F every single week. So really changed up that grading scale where now the A's run from 100 to 85. Previously, that was only to 90. B's are now 84 down to 70. The C's 69 to 55. And D 54 to 45, and F's everything below that. So it's just giving us a little bit more clarity, like, hey, here are the tiers, if you were, and really kind of like explain that out where, hey, like there is going to be value on some F drivers. There's still going to be value on F drivers every single week, but it just is helping us differentiate those tiers a little bit better and adjust them to NASCAR rather than a true grading scale, if you would.
Yeah, it may look like a math test when you go and open it up, but it's not a math test. It's not a science test. It's NASCAR. The funny part is, though, looking at the model this week, there are still only 9 drivers above a C, and one of them is Alex Bowman, who's not even racing this week. So definitely a top of the line here. Again, if you want to dig deeper into the model, get a look at it. That's found in the paid tier of the IBT Racing family. Free to access the chat as well as the memorabilia giveaways that we're due for another one here soon, I think. But the paid tier gives you that exclusive weekly betting model, our full betting cards, entry into the head-to-head matchups contest, which has been a fun way to round out the show here. We are doing giveaways each of the next 4 shows. Shout out to Trav for giving away some spots each of the next 4 weeks. You'll go into the Discord. You will like that message that you're indicated to like to enter the giveaway, and then you can get access into that betting model potentially at no cost, but the $3.99 a month or $36 for the year. We certainly appreciate, and certainly appreciate Bob's shout out there. Seth, Chris, Ryan from My Fantasy Race, all collaborating together to make that model, and it definitely is worth it each and every week.
Yeah, it is our pride and joy over here, and really enjoying it. And there's nothing like when the clear number one favorite, like we had last week, goes on and just opens a can of whoop ass on the field.
Yeah, hey, if it helps us make money, which it certainly has, it's definitely worth that extra cost. Digging into some of the numbers, leaders in average starting position, Larson at a 7.3, Logano 7.7, Austin Cindric up higher than I thought he would be, 10.1, Bell 10.2, Byron 10.3. The active pole winners here, Bell and Logano have done it 3 times, Kyle Busch has done it twice. Then you have a pole each for Hamlin, McDowell, Reddick, Jones, Blaney, and Keselowski. When you look at the polls, it's Gibbs and it's Penske in the next gen era. They have won 6 of the 8. Spire and RCR have the other 2. I think that McDowell was a Spire last year, if I remember correctly. Richard Chotis Racing winning a pole as well. There's no Hendrick in there. Hendrick's won a lot of the races. Gibbs and Penske, though, qualifying up front. Definitely something to look for, especially if you're throwing down any pole bets, like I know our guy Chris does week in, week out.
Yeah, I am someone who struggles with pole bets a little bit just because it's never a great feeling to go into Sunday already losing some money on the Cup Series. But there's some really sharp handicappers in the community right now, specifically in our Discord community, that are kind of throwing out pole bets every single week. So cool to track that. And I know average starting position, honestly, it's one of the stickier stats out there in the Cup Series.
The trends definitely flip differently when we get into the races we'll talk about. Active race winners here. Logano has won here 4 times. Keselowski and Larson 3 wins apiece. Denny Hamlin has 2. And in terms of the guys racing on Sunday, William Byron, Kyle Busch, Josh Berry have a win apiece. Berry's your only first-time winner in Las Vegas history.
Okay.
If you're a Denny Hamlin fan, wanting to know if he can go back-to-back, it's happened 4 times. Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Larson have all won back-to-back races here. Jimmy Johnson won 3 straight as well. So it can happen, just not super often. Going back to qualifying, only 2 wins in the track's history from the pole, but then you have 25% of the races won from the front row, so maybe better to start second than first. 42% from the top 5, 64% from the top 10. You have had 5 winners from outside the top 20. Weirdly, I think 3 of those were 24th, so watch out for whoever starts there.
Right.
You flip it, though. Hendrick, no poles since 2015, but they have won 4 of the next-gen races and 10 total to lead at Las Vegas. So it's not where you start, it's where you finish, especially if you're in a Hendrick Chevy.
Yeah, that seems to be the case here. And look, it's not surprising when you just consider, like, honestly, like, they've been kind of disappointing from like just an entire off the truck standpoint the last year. Like, we've talked about it more with Chase Elliott, but like even Kyle Larson at times and William Byron could, cause to qualify a little bit better. It wouldn't hurt him.
Yeah, and hey, Bowman always starts like shit too, so he's included there.
Yeah, right.
In the next gen, Bowman is the furthest back in the next gen to win a race. He started 13th in the spring of 2022. The other winners in the next gen have started P5, then 3 in a row from P2. Again, that's better to start second than first, maybe. Then in the last 3 races, P10, P7, and Hamlin won from the pole last fall. Leaders in average finish, Larson again is up front with a P9 average finish. Logano 9.6, Kyle Busch 11.9, Denny Hamlin 12.4, Brad Keselowski 12.5. It's one of those stats that, of course, that includes all the previous generation data. So we have a lot of Keselowski up here because he really owned this place with Penske, maybe not so much with RFK. Lots of Kyle Busch because JGR, he won everywhere, every week, every year, and hasn't been so good the last couple of years. Those are things to keep in mind as well when I bring up those numbers. In terms of overtime, that spring 2022 Bowman-Larson duel where the 48 took the win is the most recent overtime race here, only 4 in the track's history. Speaking of the track's history, again, maybe better to start second than first, or 24th apparently. Shout out to Seth Eggert on X for this stat. 36 races at Las Vegas. The driver who's led lap number 1 has never won the race.
That feels like one of those trends that needs broken one of these years. And this might be the year to do it.
Whoever wins the poll, maybe just back off a little bit. Let that other guy.
I don't know.
0 for 36 is a big trend for sure. All right, one more trend to talk about before we get into the bets, and it's this week's iFantasy Race Driver of the Week. Asterisk mark Driver of the Week.
Yeah, William Byron. I mean, you look at what William Byron was doing here last year, and he was an absolute rocket in the fall, right? Subjectively second best, but he finished with an asterisk marks 36. And in that race, Byron, he went on to win stage 1, finished 3rd in stage 2, and had the 3rd best total speed ranking on the day. Leads 55 laps, but then on lap 235, while running in second place, Ty Dillon decides to come to pit road out of nowhere. And if you remember, William Byron plows right into him, ruining his afternoon. So you're going to see some stats out there. You're going to see William Byron being a little bit lower in the projections this week than maybe he's given credit for. So just kind of something to keep in mind out there.
Hey, and Ryan says Byron's objectively the second best. I mean, Byron looked like the best car throughout that day. It was kind of him, Hamlin, and Larson all running up front there, but it kind of looked like Byron was going to win that race, and then Ty Dillon decided to be the unexpected turn driver of the day. In that case, destroy a couple of cars. I think Jonathan Nemechek wrecked in that too. So important to watch out for that Hendrick speed, not on Saturday apparently, but on Sunday. We're excited to get to the bets. We are even more excited to talk about our partners at WannaParlay, Seth.
Yeah, shout out to WannaParlay, who's always creating a fun and exciting competition that really is just connecting people, right? And that, at the end of the day, is why we play fantasy sports. That's why we enjoy these types of shows where we can talk about sports betting as well, because you're going to get in on the action where it's the heartbreak of almost winning and all the other emotions that you're going to experience during competition that, hey, we're a little bit older folks. We're, none of us, no one's paying us, or we ain't paying anyone to jump in any cars anytime soon. And WannaParlay, it is from the brains of two former Kansas State college football players. Go Wildcats, baby. It's all about stacking legs, competing with real sports lovers like yourself, and getting real cash wins every single day. You can 1,000 times your money and cash out fast. Are you ready to get in on the game and flex those parlay legs? Download the app for iOS and Android and get a 100% match bonus when you use the code IBT at signup. That's code IBT to get a 100% match bonus at WannaParlay. Link to that, of course, in the episode description as well. And just another way to potentially get in on some different gambling experiences over here, especially for those people. I know we have a lot of people who watch this show. I'm not in a betting legal state. Well, WannaParlay is certainly available out there for the fine folks as well.
Yeah, shout out to WannaParlay. And different gambling experiences will be a topic of conversation tonight as we get into our exciting betting cards this week. Crack open the parking garage props. Man, I feel like the books this week, they realized it was the first mile and a half, the first kind of traditional oval, and things are really juiced. Things are really varied. We're able to find some value. But, man, especially some of those placement prop odds, you can tell that they kind of don't know where to go, and the odds certainly suffer because of it.
This was a week where you really had to survey the field, right? And we always talk about having these different opportunities, whether they're sports books or whether now they're prediction markets. You can get invested in different ways to find some of that value, because you had to get creative, Elliot, because it doesn't feel good to bet some of these numbers. There's some drivers that are really, hey, I would love to have you on my portfolio in my betting card, but I just, physically cannot drink some of this juice, bet some of these numbers out there. But again, different promos out there, different ways to get invested that we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, man. And with a couple of these, it's going to sound like I'm advertising for these books. That's not the case. Hey, Brian and I were chatting after the show, and we were reflecting on how this community is very much still so us versus the books, not us versus each other, not any of that stuff. It's us versus the books. So I'm grateful for the books for throwing out some bonuses. And it's nice to also go into the prediction markets that we'll talk about a little bit. But in any case, one of those weeks, you really had to take advantage of it. And it starts with my outright. The big Blaney hit that I had last week was a result of a little bet and then get promotion at BetMGM. The bet was on Blaney, and now the get is on Larson at plus 450. I also have his top three at plus 160 boosted over on Caesars. Thanks to them for that as well. Then this week, man, I know we talked about, we don't know if the Chevy body's perfect. We know Hendrick hasn't had the speed yet, but they haven't been to a track where they've been kind of a dominant force yet. This week is one of those tracks. And this just feels like one of those old school Kyle Larson ass whooping kind of races, because Hendrick's taking it easy. They haven't really done a whole lot in the first four races of the year, short of Chase Elliott almost winning at Daytona. And again, feels like a Hendrick week, feels like a Larson ass whooping. As long as there's nothing weird with the body, nothing weird with anything else, it's definitely a Hendrick week in my book. 8 next-gen races here, 2 wins, 3 second places for Larson, 7 top 11 finishes, and the 8th race, you may remember, got in a tangle with Bubba Wallace that knocked both the 5, and I think it was Bubba in the 45, knocked them out. In that span, 595 laps led, and I'm not even including that 2021 season where that was his first win with Hendrick, one of those Larson ass whoopings that you see. And it's one of those, the season's getting into full swing. we are going to start to see some of those things that we see each and every year. The first of which being a Kyle Larson ass whooping.
Hey man, it's one of those things that when you look and just really reflect on what's going to happen most times when we go to Las Vegas, specifically in the spring, Elliot, you know what I mean? Like it is usually a Kyle Larson ass whooping for lack of a better term, right? And comes in here in the projections, number one overall, 98% IBT grade, very, very high. Like it is him and William Byron really in a tier to themselves, and then it's everybody else. That is who I am also projecting myself to probably be invested on from an outright perspective. I want to see how they unload, though, just because of what you said with the body. It's been a little bit of shenanigans. Larson terrible on some long runs last week. In the beginning of that race, really turned it up late. Same thing and same story with William Byron. I haven't been impressed with the speed yet, but this is the track I'm expecting to see it. Chevy, the only one's not in the win column right now in the NASCAR Cup Series. I expect that to be changed this week. So Kyle Larson, I don't mind getting down at the plus 450, but I'm just going to wait because I bet him here at like around a plus 325 on that outright, and I'll do it again, right? But I just want to see a little bit more. BetRivers is likely going to have a Sunday bonus out there for NASCAR as well that I plan to use, and just keep on taking my friends out there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, hey, I don't blame you at all for that. Bob and I kind of on the same page too. Larson, some monster tracks coming up soon. Mentioning Allgaier may be a great play. Again, no 48 on either of our cards, and no outrights yet on your card, like you said. And for Byron, you could wait and see how Saturday goes, or you could just boost his outright because the books give you a boost and get a 12-1 on him instead. Wow. Plus 1197 technically. Like we talked about, maybe the best car last fall before being Ty Dillon's victim of the day. I like it a lot better with the boost at a plus, 850, 900, whatever it was before this. Not as much. Of course, the boost is going to help. And the nice thing about those kind of Hendrick Chevy ass kickings that you see, it's usually not okay. One of them is 5 seconds ahead of everybody else. Usually there's a close second. So it very well could be a Larson Byron show like we've had before here. Byron with a win here in 2023, 4 additional top 7 finishes in his career here, and he's led laps in each of the last 6. Again, Hendrick's going to have to be on. I'm not too worried about that, though. I think they're going to be on, and I think it's Larson and Byron are going to be the two guys to watch at the front.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great number, almost 12-1, Elliot, because the best you're really seeing out there for Byron in the open fair market right now is 9, right? So to be able to, add $2 more onto that feels really, really good. The one thing I would suggest if you're liking Byron and you don't have any of these, MGM boosts that Elliot's, just pulling out of his derriere all of a sudden, then go over to DraftKings. They're doing like a daily drop, usually like a 30% boost on anything 3-1 or higher. That is maybe how I would also suggest playing this is go over there, see what you can boost William Byron up to, because I think if you can get him closer to that 11-1 mark, I like it a lot, but much more than I do plus 850 off the truck for a guy who hasn't been, necessarily speedy on Saturdays as much as he has in years past, although, we're only 4 or 5 races into the season.
Yeah, and hey, if he qualifies in the mid-teens or something like that, you might be able to get this 12-1 just kind of off the jump on Sunday. That might be a little long, but if you wait, you could get some decent numbers. I don't blame you for holding off on the outrights at all. Thankfully, we got plenty of placement props, though, this week. Before we get into the host of top 10s and then a little further out, I laid down a top 3, plus 160 on BetMGM for Denny Hamlin. I had a few BetMGM bonus bets also that were just about to expire, so I threw out a couple on some that I wasn't maybe certain of, but I do like Denny Hamlin a lot here. Defending winner here, of course, top 11 in 6 of the 8 next-gen races. Just one of those numbers I thought maybe was a little chalky. I thought he'd be better at Phoenix. Didn't really work out. Yeah. But again, with that bonus money to throw around, I thought Denny Hamlin was a really good place to put it.
I was really interested in finding a way to get invested with Denny Hamlin. I'm still going to be on, the lookout Sunday for some matchups as well. He is someone that, just based on what he did, not only in the fall, but, just kind of his entire catalog in the next gen era at Las Vegas, you got to like it, right? I mean, it's been sensational. You look at most of the metrics we weigh: average finish, driver rating, total speed ranking, average running position. Denny Hamlin's pretty much in their top 5, top 6 of every one of those metrics. Specifically total speed rankings, number 1 in the next gen era. So Denny Hamlin, I don't know if I'd roll a top 3 out. Like, that's just not my game in the Cup Series unless I'm like super confident, like an SVG or something at a road course. But I'm definitely here for Denny Hamlin. Also here for Andrew backing me up a little bit, saying I'm with Seth on that. I'm not convinced we can use prior stats with the horsepower and Chevy body change. Appreciate you, Andrew.
I do think this week is, I don't think there's a horsepower increase because it's not one of the short tracks or road courses. So that's important to note here. Something that has been a talking point the last couple of weeks because it's on road courses and on shorter tracks.
Good point.
I do believe, and somebody out there can fact check me on that. You're more than welcome to. But I do think the intermediate super speedways, etc., are sticking with the previous amount of horsepower. But the Chevy body, definitely enough of a reason. Like we talked about earlier, Hendrick not having any race winning speed so far, and the new body completely understand waiting.
And Hunter also letting us know that we can bet on Kalshi during practice only on the app. They don't take down their odds to adjust after qualifying. So again, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the prediction markets and the offerings they have over there right now. But great to know that maybe they are not adjusting as properly and as fast as they should in some of these books are. So great to know there from Hunter. Appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Kalshi here in a couple of minutes, and then I'll kind of extrapolate a little bit. But we got a couple top 10s to break down first. I had one of the 2311 owners. You've got one of the drivers.
Yeah, man, we're just going to go back to the well here. Tyler Reddick, top 10, minus 155 at FanDuel. Going 2 units on this, so we'll be drinking a little bit of a steady glass of juice here. And the only driver this season in the Cup Series with 4 top 10s in all 4 races is Tyler Reddick, man. And Blaney and Bubba, they're the only drivers with 3 each. Like, he has been the class of the field. So much like average finish, Elliot. Like, I know he's been great. He won 3 races, but like an average finish of 2.5 is just crazy when you think it's been a road course and 2 super speedways and a short track in Phoenix, right? And a wonky short track with a dog leg in it, right? It's just so impressive what this guy's been doing. Tied with Blaney for the second best average starting position as well, 9.0. Joey Logano, the only ones better than them off the truck right now. And he's finished top 10 in Sin City in 5 of 8 next-gen races. A couple of those races where he didn't, flukes too, right? Like some issues with the car, some bad luck in wrecks, but comes in a healthy 5th in our projections right now, 3rd best in average run position at Vegas, 4th best in driver rating at Las Vegas in the last 3 seasons, and 2nd in loop data at the spring race in particular, which is important. I'm really happy that Chris kind of, made that a breakout metric where, hey, let's just look at some spring race data, because certainly different than what we've seen at Las Vegas when it's crunch time in the playoffs. 5th best total speed rankings at Las Vegas in the next gen era, 6th best average finish on comps last season. Looking at some of those like Texas and Charlotte that we talked about early. And like really, like Elliot, to me, it's just pricing enforcement here. If you're going to give me something under minus 200 on Kyle or on Tyler Reddick, I probably have to bet it. It's minus 200, minus 225. I've seen minus 250 on some books as well. So minus 155 at FanDuel. I'm fine if you want to wait for this and maybe he qualifies 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and you get closer to even money like we did last week. I'm totally cool with that. But I'm just going to, double up here on 2 units down minus 155 and just secure that number because it's the only one close to this right now.
Yeah, I've got a couple of bets on Reddick too. One of them I'll talk about later. And the phrase, the jury's still out. I think the jury's still out on whether Reddick can truly be a title contender this year. But it's to the point those jury deliberations are kind of finishing up. They're maybe just trying to get that last guy on their side and stuff like that. And they're about to come back out. Reddick is to the point now where they've had speed everywhere. He's been able to win 3 races to start the year. Better at Phoenix than he was arguably running for a championship a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
2311's here to stay. They've got enough speed that even Riley Hebst is running half decent, as we'll talk about later. 2311's taking the next step, and we'll see after the next 2 or 3 weeks, Vegas, Darlington, and those kind of tracks. But if you're seeing Reddick have some speed, if you're seeing Wallace have that speed, if you're seeing Herbst not run 30th every week, I was to the point today with those couple of bonus bets that I had, I almost threw one down on a Reddick title ticket at 11-1. He's already got such a big lead in the points. And if they're going to have speed everywhere, they say you got to be one of those top 3, 4, 5 C's to really have a shot at the title. If he just kind of runs sort of like he's running now, even if he doesn't win another race between now and the start of the chase in the fall, he could still be one of those top 3, 4, 5 seeds. I'm really, really optimistic about Reddick. And if they have speed the next couple of weeks, you're really going to have to start talking about him as one of the 3 to 5 guys who can win a title.
Was 11-1 non-boosted odds? Is that
what
was
you're non-boosted? Saying? I was just going to throw a bonus bet on it. So BetMGM, I think, had that at 11-1.
Yeah.
And if he does keep stacking that points lead. 11-1 may seem like a good number by this time in a month or two, but.
Well, I know you were saying too that, FanDuel was giving out 100% odds boost as a, pick either one, like it was, white on Christmas earlier today. So like if you go out there and put that and get a 20-1 or 21-1 ticket on Reddick, that might be something worth investing in. BetRivers every Sunday, they got that 10% boost out there too. So you can probably grab a 13 or a 12. I'm here for trying to find a way to get invested in Tyler Reddick. I'm pretty light in like the Cup Series Championship outright department right now in market. So I would really like to find a way to try to get invested with either Tyler Reddick or, as Stan's saying here too, he just hit Blaney 7-1 at FanDuel. I don't think that number gets any better. Probably not. So imagine if you can, like, again, let's use these promos, books at this time of year, guys. They're like really trying to get you to bet because unless you're betting on like, the World Baseball Classic or, an NBA DGen, college hoops, that type of stuff, there's just not as much of a rake out there, especially as books are continuing to lose steam to prediction markets. So just something to kind of keep in mind is let's continue to use these offerings to our advantage, even in the future markets.
Yeah, and Blaney 7-1, probably a good title bet. I just checked my season-long card. I boosted my Blaney up to plus 937 for a title, so it probably was right around that 6.5 to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that number's not getting any better, especially because he's already got that win on the table. Doesn't lock you in like it did previously, but shows that Blaney is still Blaney. Be Ryan F. and Blaney.
Mm-hmm.
He's still Ryan F. and Blaney. So we mentioned that boost that FanDuel had for a little bit of a profit boost. I thought Joey Logano for a top 10 was a good bet this week. I thought the numbers were terrible. I just went ahead and boosted it to plus money, a plus 109 over on FanDuel for the Logano top 10. Absolutely unbettable number, like the minus 180 that I saw it at. And I thought he might. I didn't really have a lot of faith in him heading into Phoenix. I was more on the Blaney, maybe more on the Cindric. Floating around the Rivers Casino, you mentioned our friends out in Pittsburgh. I had a little bit from the slots, and I threw in a Joey Logano plus 550 outright into the nice little kiosk there just after midnight heading into Sunday morning. It was looking pretty good for a while until he decided to drive like a jackass, cause 2 wrecks, and knock himself out. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You have to pick your spots on Logano. I didn't think coming into the year he would win. I don't think he's going to win here. But Ford's quick enough. Logano's kind of quick enough. I don't hate it when I boost it up here because there's just something about he and Vegas that get along. At the more traditional mile and a half, so you don't see it that often from Logano. But he and Vegas, I don't know if it's the Pennzoil 400, and they always try to throw a little bit extra in the sponsored race. Or just when it means more to him, you're going to see him run a little better. And it's happened here at Vegas. The 2 wins here, one of those Pennzoil 400s and the one that got him to the championship 4 in 2024. But he's also led laps the last 4 Vegas races and has 4 top 10s here in the next gen as well. So unless Penske is just really, really off this week, I feel really good about this one. Logano kind of still proving me wrong, showing he still has some speed in that car and putting that 22 in the top 10 come Sunday night.
Yeah, I mean, comes in 7th here in the projection, so he's definitely interesting. Had speed last week. He's just someone else. Like, let's keep putting. We got to stack good races together, right? Like, we need to get finishes. He got a ton of stage points. I played him in fantasy last week, and that's really what kind of held him and made him not be someone who lost me money last week in DFS. So I appreciate that, and you're shouting out Rivers Casino over there. Let me tell you what, man. That place is a time. Like, not many casinos can you go out there and, I mean, they're timely with the service. They're keeping you on the games. They're bringing, ice cold Iron City lights out to you. They got Busch lights in there. You can take a nice little dart break out on the river. Like, it's just beautiful. It is absolutely, they know we're coming, right? They know we're coming and they, they can take us for some. I'm not much of a table gambler for that reason. But yeah, always a good time out there. So BetRivers, Rivers Casino, if you ever need a sponsor for some from some NASCAR gambling DGens who are willing to, slap a couple bucks down on a little Joey Logano outright in person at, 12:30 when you're a couple shots boozed up, like my friend Elliot. We appreciate that. And we can help spread the word. Chamberlain here in the chat saying, I bet my children's future on table tennis regularly. Wow. Corey LaJoy out here. He's got a little Corey LaJoy in him.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, a couple Summer Olympics ago, I didn't realize table tennis was an Olympic sport until I'm flipping on USA or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There's table tennis out there. That was insane. And certainly something, hey, the Olympics are going to be in the USA here in Los Angeles in 2028. Maybe we throw down some table tennis futures. We'll do do a little table tennis content here on the Backroad. We'll have to see. Anyway, a couple more top 10s to talk about here. Ross Chastain, -110 via theScore. And I mean, excuse me, it's kind of beating a dead horse here when they say that this week is important to kind of see where the teams are as a barometer. We're starting to get into tracks that we're going to see a similar track type of more often, where what the team has under the hood means more, where we have their setups mean a little more, all that kind of stuff. I think it's especially important, not just for Chastain, but for Trackhouse. Zilisch having a rookie season for sure. SVG is 5th in the points. I mean, he's kind of smoking Ross right now, who's down in the mid-20s. Of course, a couple of things that were kind of out of his control, but really important to see where Ross is because the track that's normally pretty good for him. Last fall, not so good. We won't talk about that. Prior to that, though, I'll run through his finishes here. P5, P7, P4, P5. That's a lot of top 10 so far. We have a 12th thrown in there. Then you go back to 2022, though, and you get a P2 and a P3 in the next-gen races here. Great at Kansas, too, which is the most direct comp track to Vegas. Ross and Trackhouse and everything going on over there, if you're going to be good this year, if you're going to really contend to be one of those guys in the chase to put yourself in that conversation, got to have a good run here. I think he gets it done.
Yeah, I like Ross. Like, I don't like the speed we've seen out of him lately. Kind of just a disastrous run last week, really not in it from the drop of the green flag or even off the truck. So, like, that's what's holding me back from getting invested pre-flop here with him. But you talk about those finishes, right? Number 1 in average finish at Las Vegas in the next gen era. Only person really kind of on the same planet with him is Kyle Larson and then William Byron. And then it's again another gap. So I'm here for it. Like I do like Ross again. Like I'd like to see this. Like I just don't know if this number gets any better. That's why like I would just wait on it. But I would like to be somewhat invested in Ross. It's just like I just don't trust this guy really off the truck right now. And like I mean, you said it, man. Like SVG, what P11 last week showed some like
SVG had spinning twice.
Yeah, he had the most speed out of the entire garage last week for Trackhouse, right? So yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm mixed here because this is one of Ross. If you're gonna ever bet a Ross top 10, this is the place to do it. It just feels like the long run speed isn't there yet again for this guy.
Yeah, hey, talking about SVG, can we get some standings placement props? Like SVG top 10 in the points might be a pretty good bet right now.
Yeah, I mean, even the outrights I was seeing for the championship, like I wasn't thinking he was going to make the chase and make the book sweat and maybe give you a cash out. But if you got down at, the 100 to 1, 75 to 1 number that was even floating out there earlier in the season, I've seen, 150s before they kind of changed the format as well. Like I was going to bet SVG for a championship for the cash out purposes, specifically Elliot. And then with the format change, I was just kind of hands off on it. But heck, man, this guy's doing it and he doesn't have a win yet.
You'll do anything for a cash out, man. Even bet a Cole Custer title ticket angle for the cash out.
What can I say? What can I say, man? And then when the cash outs come, I regularly take it too. I'm like, no, I can get but luckily, like I haven't burned myself with the Jesse Love cash outs, getting pretty good numbers before Phoenix last year. Let it ride. Travis Hunter, Heisman a couple years ago, I had 65 to 1, getting a cash out from the first whistle of the season on that, and just rode that all the way to New York and cashed that one as well. But I do love my cash outs. I do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We love our placement props tonight, too. We each have one more top 10, Seth. I'll start off with you.
Yeah, I mean, give me a little dinger top 10, 5 to 1 here at BetRivers. Again, our friends out in Pittsburgh, shout out 0.5 of a unit for me. This is like the exact, if you're looking for a long shot in the top 10 market here this week, like this is the bet I would recommend to you. If you just want to feel something here, get a little sweat going on Sunday. This pre-flop, I think, is a really great number because 16th in the projections right now, 10th best average finish at Vegas in the past 2 seasons as well. And in the top half of the majority of the metrics that Chris was weighing in the model this week. And this includes a 15.0 average next-gen finish at Las Vegas, 11th best. And like his worst finish in that span is 21st. He's finished top 10 in 2 of 5 tries. So 5 to 1 is just a kind of an egregious number. And actually go to the O'Reilly series for this guy too. There's been no one better than Dinger. I don't know what it is, man, about Las Vegas. I don't know if, this guy's getting shit-faced at Top Golf the night before or, heading to Little Italy, whatever it is. This guy absolutely performs out there. In colleague equipment in the O'Reilly series, 5 top 10s in the last 6 races, including winning in the fall of 2024 after leading 102 laps. So I think if we're going to get invested in Dinger sometime this season, why not here in Vegas, baby?
the most entertaining part about all that you threw at us was talking about getting shit-faced in Vegas the night before a race, and your first mention is Topgolf. Of anywhere in Vegas, and you've been there, Topgolf's your first mention. I appreciate it.
Well, I've only been there once, and let's just say I didn't have a very long run in Vegas. I got sick after about 2 days and was kind of laid up. So I don't know many places, but I do know there's nice Topgolf out there, which allegedly dying, the Topgolf phenomenon. So again, Topgolf, you need a little, we also have a PGA show, so you need a little spot out here. We got you.
Nothing is more Seth than doubling down on Topgolf as a top Vegas destination. I'll go just down the road.
Man, the only places I can say that I went, Planet 13, Google it, check it out. I'm not going to tell you what that is. It's one of the largest in the world. That's all I'll say. In-N-Out.
Is that like Magic City that the NBA just had to cancel a promo for?
No. This is if you're trying to get elevated out in Vegas, but In-N-Out, I've been there, and my favorite place in Vegas, there's a little alleyway next to this one casino, $5 hands blackjack. Outside of this casino, they have $3 beers, and they had Busch Light Tall Boys at this. It was the cheapest beer in Vegas. It was the best beer in Vegas, right next to the cheapest casino. Don't know where it was specifically. It's kind of like across from Caesars and the big fountains a little bit down an alleyway. So there's your Vegas tour for the day, Elliot.
And we've tripled down on the Sethisms. The Vegas tour ends with a tall boy Busch Light. All right, let's get back to the bets here. I got one more top 10 before we have our little Kalshi discussion. It's Brad Keselowski at 3-1 over on Bet365. Like we talked about, the placement props really all over the place this week. I found this number as low as like plus 175, plus 80, plus 185. Not interested at all. 3-1 though. I'm much more interested in Brad here. Top 10 machine, as we talked about the last 2/3 of the year. Talked about it ad nauseum, brought it up every damn week, bet it every damn week, made a lot of damn money. So we're back on it here because he owned this place with Penske, and even in the RFK days has run pretty decent here. Top 13 for the last 5. It's close enough to a top 10 at 3-1 to take the plunge for me.
Hey, I'm okay with it, man. Like Brad Keselowski, again, someone I wanted to get invested with last week. I'll just wait pre-flop, see what the flop is and see how it comes out on Saturday in the wash. But you were giving out those trends earlier. It was a lot of bad Brad, a lot of bad Brad. So I don't hate it. For me, like, I think it's the right number for a guy who comes in 18th in the projections. 3-1 for a guy like that. I'm on board.
Yeah, and part of it too is that the numbers may not look as good on Thursday as they do on Saturday or Sunday. But, I'm going to throw out those numbers a little early, going to kind of give everyone a lean on where I'm thinking.
No,
Even if it's a difference between a plus 300 to a plus 350, if I'm making money anyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I look at it, but different betting strategies, all that. What do we got here? Cash outs are like being married on Temptation Island. That's a good one there from our guy Chamberlain. I wanted to bring up some comments there. Oh, first of all, who the hell is selling beer in the Lally? Shout out Chamberlain there. But the comments here kind of on the same train we are. Andrew liking a Suarez top 10. Bob saying, hey, Suarez, nice pick, Andrew. Thanks, Spire. Showing some speed there. Andrew also mentioned Casino Royale. Used to have some beers over there. Good times out in Vegas. We should have talked more about Vegas with Brian Twining, who's spent a lot of time out in that area. But anyway, Daniel Suarez is on the card. He is a Kalshi bet because they have top 20s in their
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Man, I couldn't believe it. So Chris puts out the projections yesterday. It's probably a little after midnight. I got Zinner in the upper decky here. Just kind of trying to coast through the night, finishing up some tax documents for the company, Elliot. And I'm like, I gotta just, let's check the books. Let's check what's going on out there. See if there's any movement. And I go to our friends at Kalshi again, prediction market. So different than a sports book, legal in all 50 states though. So it is a great place to get invested, at least by my standpoint. So they actually have placement props on Kalshi for the first time I've seen this season. And they have a top 20 market, which pretty rare to see a top 20 market anywhere these days. Even on super speedways, they've been kind of going away for the most part. We have them though. You do have to convert some of their numbers to actual American odds if that's what you're looking at. So I have a Daniel Suarez top 20 ticket here at 1.6x at Kalshi. I'm 2 units down on this. If you translate that to American odds, minus 168. So I'm paying some juice on this, but here's my thoughts, and I'm totally with the boys in the chat. Andrew Chamberlain, Bob Bodner, and the boys all on the number 7 car, because look, 19th in our projections this week, but 9th in driver rating the last 3 years at Vegas, 4th in average finish in that span as well. Also 13th in average running position in the next gen era at Vegas. So this guy is certainly spending a majority of the laps inside the top 15. He has finished top 20, Elliot, in 7 straight races for the 10th best average finish of 14.25 in that span. And you think about what Daniel Suarez is doing. I wrote this guy off. Said, you can go down the O'Reilly series and I'll bet on you every single week there. No, this guy says, I'm a Sunday driver. I'm a Sunday driver, baby. And he has put it into overdrive this season. Starts 4th last week at Phoenix, finishes stage 1 in 7th, having a great run. Ends up getting into trouble, as Daniel Suarez tends to do. But I think if Daniel Suarez is left on the track, no mechanical issues, no F-ups on pit road, this guy's going to be a top 20. I don't mind if you ladder this up to top 10 as well. But our friends at Kalshi just being very, very generous for mi amigo here out in Vegas.
Yeah, I would agree. And even a minus 168 when you convert it is definitely a reasonable number for a top 20. Probably not going to sign up for Kalshi this week. I've already got a lot of my card laid out, as you see. But if they keep throwing out top 20s, you bet that I will be throwing down some prediction market coin. One thing you didn't even mention on Suarez, if it wasn't Barry winning this race last spring, it was Daniel Suarez. He ran second.
Good point.
So
good point.
Second will put you well inside the top 20 and cash this out pretty well.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Chat Kalshi as well, because they're actually one of our first flat rate sponsors that we got 2 or 3 years ago. We were way ahead of the curve on the prediction markets side, even before they were doing sports betting. We were on them when they were only doing culture and entertainment and that type of stuff. And they were awesome to us, hoping we can get them back here by spreading the good word here. But let's throw out another one just to make sure we do here, Elliot. Riley Hebst top 10 times 1.79 on Kalshi. I'm going down a unit on this one, so a little less confident, but still like it. That translates to minus 116 odds in American figures. And then you look at what Riley Hebst doing. Like, it feels like him and Noah Gragson and Zane Smith. I know they're all hometown boys, and they just seem to show it, right? 18.0 average finish in the Cup Series. It's got to be his best track. I haven't looked at all his average finishes, but I think it is his best track. It's his home track. He finished 19th and 17th here in his last 2 starts a year ago, and also has an O'Reilly Series win here in 4 straight top 10s as well. And he's had a really nice start to the season, right? 24th in points. You and I and Rod, we did our off-season power rankings. No one had Riley Hebst even close to top 25 right now, and he's going out there, has an average finish of 20.5. I know it's been some different types of tracks that we've been to, but last week on an oval, started P22, made his way up to 18th, and just showing some speed, man. 23.11, firing on all cylinders. That includes our boy Riley Hebst, who, hey, he's in defense mode. This might be his last season in this ride, so he's got to make it count with the top 20 out at his home track in Sin City.
Yeah, it's one of those things where a rising tide lifts all boats. Riley Hebst in that 2311 car, definitely a bit of a rise there. Really impressive from him to even run top 20 or to throw a bet out on there, but give credit where credit is due. I also wanted to throw the car on the screen here. Normally, we're all used to Herbst in that black monster car. This week was another nicotine pouch brand in NASCAR. I don't know if you say it Frey or Free, F-R-E. Okay. Maybe they're trying to market and say, free nicotine pouches so people will get them, and you have to pay for it anyway. But in any case, if you hit this bet, you got to go find these, Seth, and try those instead of that Zin or the Zone or the Ons or whatever.
Ons, yeah, have some respect.
Give this one a try if you hit this top 20.
We have officially moved to the original as well flavor. So yeah, we we'll still run mints after meals, but originals kind of get us through the rest of the day. So again, I know I've done a lot of advertising selling, but at this point, free, come on board, baby. I'll choose some Frey. I'll throw some Freys up in the upper decky if they're ready for it. Looks like we have some other people who are getting in here at Kalshi as well. Blazed Wolf. I put this in the Discord when I found this last night, like midnight. So sorry if I woke anyone up when I dropped this in there. And then I put it out on X, and people were liking it there too when I let them know. But Blaze went with a Gragson top 20 on Kalshi. I like that. I actually had an over under on Caesars last year, Elliot, on Gragson at this track, and he ended up burning me after running top 10 all day. So I won't be going back there. Stan also liking some Priest as well. Looks like 1.5 milers. He was straight money. He's saying top 10 might be worth a look there on Ryan Preece. And Chamberlain, they do have O'Reilly stuff. No placement props right now that I'm seeing over at Kalshi, but they do have O'Reilly series outrights, which usually are just as good, if not better numbers than the books are putting out.
Yeah, Preece was a guy I kind of thought about. He was kind of one of my guys to be like, wait and see how quality goes. I went on Brad as my RFK pull this week, Busher last week. It's kind of one of those things where one guy runs really well, the other two are kind of not so good. I kind of went with Brad this week. In terms of Gregson, though, not bad for a top 20. I like doing it on the hometown guys, but if we want to crack open the sort of silly season hat here, front row, I mean, Zane Smith has kind of been their best driver. Todd Gilliland, not a super hot start. Noah Gragson has found it really hard to find any sort of success in the Cup Series, and silly season's got to be insane. We're going to continue to talk about it as the year goes on. Call them right now because the season just started. But, I mean, once we get to probably Memorial Day, definitely when we're out at Pocono in June and throughout the year, there's going to be a lot of shit that changes heading into next season. And those front row guys could really be a couple of those guys that are on the hot seat there. So Gregson, a top 20 would be a great start to keeping a Cup Series ride heading into 27. But anyway, a couple more bets across the board before we get to kind of an expanded O'Reilly card. The top 10 markets gave us a lot to bet on, which is nice. But I went back to the matchup. Well, first on Tyler Reddick over Denny Hamlin. Reddick running that, I guess now it's a throwback paint scheme to Kurt Busch's last Cup win at Kansas 2022 there, keeping that Jordan brand going. For Reddick, I have to be on him in some way, shape, or form. You have the top 10 on him. I have a placement prop as well. I like the matchup against his team owner at this number. And again, I have the Hamlin top 3. But you got to kind of have a couple of different, you don't want to throw all your eggs in one basket here. You could still have a Reddick over Hamlin and the Hamlin top 3 hit if things go well. And then you hit your top 10 too. In any case, though, P8 last week, great speed for the 45. Like we said, probably ran better in that race than he did when he was going for a title. So clearly they've made some improvements out in the desert. 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s here in the next gen, and even led some laps before flipping the damn thing in the fall of 2024 here and driving it back to the pits. So Reddick and Vegas get together pretty well. It's one of those tracks that in the days of 2311, when Kurt Busch was driving and when Reddick just first started, Vegas would be a track we would really look at them. So if they've improved everywhere, they've kind of been meh at a place where they've been good at before. I'm really optimistic about the 45 car this week.
Yeah, I really like Tyler Reddick this week, but I also like Denny Hamlin, right? Like if you're saying, hey, give me like your 5 top drivers for this week to go win, I think they both have the same type of win equity share. So for me, like I couldn't make this bet, but I was eyeing up some Tyler Reddick placement props and matchups to see if I could find anything on him. It was just against the other guys that I also like in this field, like the William Byrons, like the Chris Bells, and like the Denny Hamlins of the world.
Hey, scared money don't make money. You know what I mean?
Yes,
other matchup I have, Erik Jones over Connor Zilisch plus 105 over at Caesars.
Wow.
I'm fading Zilisch anywhere I can still not having the most successful rookie year. And again, some of that out of his own control, some of it very much in his own control. I'm hands off on Zilisch until further notice. And Erik Jones, we talked about how he snuck into the top 10 last week. You have that legacy speed kind of pop up here, there, and everywhere. Just announced officially they'll go to 3 cars next year. Don't know who's going to drive or anything like that. But again, part of that, a lot of shit changing next year. A 3rd legacy car opening up. Again, rising tide lifts all boats. I like what Jones and JHN did last year and heading into this year too. Last fall, Jones was P15. I think that's plenty good enough to beat Zilisch if he can do that again. 4 career top 10s, even though most of those were in Gibbs equipment. You still know your way around the track. And Legacy's climb only going to continue up. There's times this year where you're going to pick your spots on Jones and JHN, especially at top 10 numbers. This was not a placement prop week for me for the Legacy boys. But like I said, any way to fade Zilisch and go with the guy I kind of have a little faith in, very cool with that Jones boy.
Yeah, the finishes are rough for him. Like that's kind of what you have to get over with Erik Jones. Like the thing that really kind of brings him up in the projections to a respectable level. And when I'm talking about respectable level, I think I'm talking like what 23rd, yeah, something like that. So it's like it's not the best, and like it's the comp finishes. He's been really good at some of these comps that we've been to. For whatever reason, Vegas isn't a place that he seems to do well in. So like I think I'm high on Connor Zilisch. I still think this guy wins a race. So you're also talking to the guy I bet him for a long shot top 10. And I also took a little gamble in the top Chevy market on him last week as well. I tried to get a little, I thought one of them Trackhouse boys would have something. And I was kind of fading Hendrick as a whole last week. So that was kind of really the play there. But it's a no from me, dog, on Erik Jones as a whole this week. I don't mind the fade of Connor Zilisch, though, just based on what we've seen on him.
Yeah, and hey, that's why it was a bridge too far to go placement props, but Jones over Zilisch. This could very easily be celebrating a 23rd place finish compared to a 27th and still make your money. One more cup bet for me. Winning number under 16.5 at plus 120 via Caesars. This gives me 3 of the big favorites for the week: Larson, Hamlin, Blaney, all guys who could very easily win this race. Some potential winners: Chastain and Chase Elliott, and reasonable upsets: Cindric, Keselowski, maybe Suarez and Kyle Busch. A little bit of value here. Take a shot at the dartboard, little spin of the roulette wheel, under 16.5.
I'm here for it. Like, honestly, this is one that I looked at for a while. Byron and Bell are who scare me off, right? Like, and Reddick, I guess. But like, when you really like peel back the curtain, like, I think like any bet to me that I can have Larson and Hamlin in it is great. But there's three top dogs that I like. I'd almost, and it's probably juice, but I almost prefer like an odd number at this point, because then at least maybe I can get Reddick in this group as well. But I really do feel like I think there's 5 or 6 guys who win this race. The issue is 2 of them are even numbers and above this number as well.
Yeah, one of those little plus money dart throws, wheel spins that I'm on. And hey, that's enough with the cup. The O'Reilly side, thanks to theScore for putting out top 10s. We got a lot of those this week. But we're going a little higher than that on Chase Briscoe stepping down into the 19 car. I've got the outright plus 550 on BetMGM. I do have the caveat. It's one of those bonus bets I had to throw out that was going to expire otherwise. But I really feel like Briscoe can hang with the big boys of the O'Reilly series down here. We know this car is great. We know Briscoe's really strong here. Going back to 2020, one of his dominant seasons down here, swept both of the races here. Cup finished P4, led some laps last fall. Briscoe down here going to have some fun, going to be in a really good car, and I think really can hang with, even though you have Larson in that 88. Zilisch is down there if you have more faith in him in the O'Reilly car. It feels like a good little Briscoe track, though. Wix filters on the car. I love a little black and gold out there on the racetrack. Briscoe plus 550. I like him for the win, and he's on your card too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I will potentially be, taking a dabble on this outright too, Elliot. I haven't yet at this point, but like my heart wants to tell me go ahead, bet Kyle Larson, because Kyle Larson in Vegas, we know what he can do here, right? The issue is Chase Briscoe is really freaking good here. First, you look at this car in particular. Look what Erik Almirola did in it last year, Elliot. Finished P2 in the spring, led 51 laps, finished second in both stages in that 19 car. If you remember, that was the race when it was like him and Allgaier, and there was like 10 maybe guys on the lead lap, and that was it. And they were just mowing through the field, long green flag runs. And then we come back in the fall. Almi does it again. He wins the race, though. Almirola, baby, leads 107 laps, sweeps the stages. It's a dominant race for Erik Almirola. And the Briscoe stats here then as well are crazy. He's won his last 2 races, as you alluded to, as well. Started on the point in one of them. The other one he started in second. Like, what do you have to lose here with Chase Briscoe? For me, it's a top 5 plus 100 at Bet365. I've seen him around minus 125. I've seen him down to as low as minus 140. So I think even money here at Bet365. Fire me up 3 units. Biggest bet of the weekend so far on Chase Briscoe, top 5. Again, I would really like to get invested with Kyle Larson, Elliot, but I think with Briscoe in this race, in that 19 car, there's not really a way to get invested with Kyle Larson, because that number that you're seeing out there, plus 115, plus 125, I saw Kalshi was, closer to, plus 145. I was okay with that. I just can't bet that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a top 5 on Briscoe at even money. I know there's Justin Allgaier. I know Connor Zilisch is going to be on here. We'll talk about some other drivers who I'm pretty, smitten to as well. But Chase Briscoe, top 5, even money. I think it's the best number out there on the weekend for any series out there in motorsports.
Yeah, it's just a combination of a guy who's just out there to have fun, obviously wants to go get the win in a really good car. If Almirola can smoke the field, Chase Briscoe can smoke the field in this 19 car too. And especially after, everyone says you get one of the Cup drivers in that Hendrick Xfinity or O'Reilly car, they're going to dominate. Doesn't always happen. William Byron, certainly not the dominant car at Phoenix. Of course, Larson is an entirely different animal, but I do think Briscoe is a good way to go for sure. While we're talking Hendrick, though, again, shout out theScore for actually having the top 10 numbers. I'm going with Corey Day, top 10, plus 175 at theScore. Definitely was surprised the number was this long, because Corey Day this year in the O'Reilly series, no racecraft whatsoever. Absolutely none. dumps guys week in, week out on multiple occasions. I think he had a pretty clean race at Phoenix, which was nice, but no racecraft there. But the car is fast enough, and there's enough talent there. He falls ass backwards into the top 10 anyway. So why am I going to think that's going to be any different? A track like this, Hendrick car is going to have a lot of speed. As long as he doesn't destroy his own car when he wrecks whoever he inevitably turns on Saturday night, I think he's going to fall ass backwards into the top 10 again, and we may as well make some money on it.
Yeah, I don't hate the number at all on Corey Day, a guy who looked really fast here last fall. I just like Corey Day, someone like you got to tread lightly. Like it wouldn't be a big unit share for me because he gets a little squirrely out there.
Either.
Yeah, he's kind of like reminding me a little bit of like how Taylor Gray looked when he first kind of made that jump from truck to O'Reilly series, right? Where getting a little squirrely out there, nothing wrong with rubbing racing, right? But at the same time, you got to be smart and you don't want to become the next Austin Hill. And Corey Day, as Connor Zilisch said, has been an effing idiot so far this season at times. So I'm going to stay clear of it. But Corey Day, I think it's a great number at plus 175, though. I will back you on that.
Couple of good numbers here that you have on a couple other mid-pack O'Reilly guys. And that's the beauty of this top 10 market is there's so many different ways you can go with it at so many different tracks. I may argue with you a little bit on one of these. Another one of them I like a little more. I'll let you pick where we want to start.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and we'll start with Chandler Smith, top 10, 5-1 at the score. He right now is going to be going off in that 5-car Hettinger Racing. It is a Ford program. We've seen Luke Fenhouse. We've seen Tyler Gonzalez. Victory Custom is going to be back on it as well for the kid. And look, man, like for me, I get that like it's kind of a dog crap car, but like there are like guys who can wheel dog crap cars to top 10 finishes at this particular track, and Chandler Smith is one of them. He finished P21 last week. So at least he got his feet under him in this, right? He's kind of starting to figure it out. He can make adjustments. And then you just look at his finishes here. I mean, Elliot, he wasn't great equipment, right? Or at least, above average equipment with colleague, where back in 2023, he finished 3rd and 4th in his 2 starts here. Started on the pole one of those races, finished 4th, led over 130 laps in those 2 races combined, and then comes back in 2024. Joe Gibbs Racing. What are you going to do out here? All right, I'm going to start 2nd and 3rd. I'm going to finish 4th and 3rd in those 2 races. I'm going to win 2 stages. I'm going to lead 74 laps. So it's just a really good track for Chandler Smith. And if we see these long green flag runs, someone like Chandy, I think he can put out laps that are going to at least be competitive, similar to what we saw from Harrison Burton last week, which is where I'm going to go for my next top 10 as well, plus 350 at the score bet. This is actually a bet on Harrison Burton, Elliot, that I bet last season at this track, and he did finish top 10 as well. That was his 5th straight O'Reilly Series top 10, again, some of that in JGR equipment. But he did break that streak last fall. He finished P14, though. So right in that same mix, if you're going to give me a guy who's going to be 15th to, 7th to 15th out there, I'm going to take it. And this guy's taking a lot of shrapnel on the internet right now. I'm seeing the people bury this kid. And look, it's a slow start, P30 in points. Needs to pick up the pace here at the solid top 10, but he's just had some bad luck. So he had the speed last week. He started P11, ends up, having some trouble getting shot to the back of the field at one point. But let's go ahead and cash a little HB action at Las Vegas once again for the 2nd year in a row and in the O'Reilly Series.
The Harrison Burton one's the one that I like. He's had a tough start to the year, but the Sam Hunt equipment probably better than the AM equipment, and just one of those guys that's fallen victim to 2 super speedways and then a road course starting your season. You run into trouble at all of them, you dig a pretty big hole. I do think we're really starting to get into tracks that are in his wheelhouse. Seeing some of those top 10 runs and climbing back up the standings ladder, something I expect to see out of Harrison Burton. Chandler Smith, the driver, love it here. Great stats, great everything. He had great stats at Phoenix too and ran 21st. The only problem is, if it's Chandler Smith in a Gibbs car, I'm stiffing the outright. I'm definitely taking a top 5. Chandler Smith in this car that DNQ'd with a road course specialist in it at Coda, ran 21st last week. Ford doesn't give a damn about the O'Reilly Series.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a decent driver in a dog shit car, and I don't think dog shit cars can run top 10 at a mile and a half Vegas.
Harrison Burton did last year in AM, baby.
Yeah, that's AM. It was clearly a car that was above its punching weight when you had a certain driver who's not really running very well in ARCA West either, driving it for the first half of the season a couple of years ago. That was a team that was building itself up. And Hettinger, they're brand new. I trust that if they keep going and if Ford gives them a little more investment and actually gives a damn about the O'Reilly Series, future could be bright for the program. Right now, there's no upside. at all. And Bob was talking about Chandler Smith as a potential outright last week. Bob, I hope you didn't bet it because it didn't go very well.
Hey, I understand. Shout out to our boy Bob, though. I appreciate him, taking some long shots out there. Someone's got to do it. So, no, I understand. I think 5-1. It's still a great number, though. So I'm going to be there for it. But
300-1 on Cole Custer to win a title looked like a mighty fine number too. But
sure, yeah, that's that is fair. 5-1 though. I'll take a little half unit sprinkle there and a little half unit sprinkle. I only need one of these to hit, and I'm in the money for this race. So.
Hey, whatever floats your boat. The head-to-head matchups contest to round us out. Let's bring up the updated leaderboard.
Yeah.
Chris is 4 for 4. He is the only perfect one on the year. Definitely shout out to him. I'm right on his tail, though. Got back on the leaderboard here. I've got 3 out of 4 right. We got Blurry Kyle, Lars, and Blaze Wolf CJ with 2 apiece. Trav, Jake Perry, Rod, and congratulations, Seth. You're on the board with a matchup.
Needed it.
Got him on the board here, but still a little bit behind Chris and I. Taking the mantle so far, but a couple of folks on our heels, and both of our matchups this week are down in the O'Reilly series.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and fire up Jesse Love -115 at Brandon Jones. This is on the official betting card as well. 2 units down on it. I just think like -115 at BetRivers is a crazy number for this, dude, because I've seen this down to -125 already. I've seen it start to creep to -130 some books. So again, friends in Pittsburgh out there doing us some favors, man. You must have buttered them up real good last week when you were taking a stop through the casino late at night. But Love is 3-1 against Brandon Jones here. 8.0 average finish in that span for J Love. No finish worse than 6 in the last 3 races. In the last 4 races for Brandon Jones, 11.25 finish. So not too worried about it. In the fall, Love's average running position, 3.1, was one of the cars to beat. He was one of the cars to beat last week as well when he beat Brandon Jones, finished second, and Jones finished P16. So I think Jesse Love's going to be on an absolute heater. I don't know if he's quite a top 5 car. I think he's in that anywhere from 3rd to 7th mix. I think Brandon Jones is, closer to 10th to 13th in this race. So yeah, love me some Jesse Love to hopefully get back on the board after screwing me over back in week 1 in Daytona.
Yeah. Hey, I like that a lot. Love definitely running pretty well. And a guy who I threw one of those little bonus bets I had that was going to expire, threw it on a 5-1 Love title future because I have no idea where the O'Reilly series is going this year. So go for Love to win back-to-back. Why not? I'll get to a couple comments here before throwing out my pick. Chamberlain riding Briscoe, as we talked about, that 19 was a rocket. Bob, 2 units on Briscoe, 12-1. Sawalich at 75-1. That could be interesting. Chandler Smith, 250-1 here in Dover. Didn't do it. Good. Don't do it this week either. TK talking about AM Racing. He said they may have been switching to Chevy before a sponsor fell through. Ford may not be exactly eager to help them out a lot. So Chandler Smith is with Hettinger. They're the other Ford team in the O'Reilly series. They're new this year. What happened with AM is they were going to sell the entire program to a team that's running an ARCA called Sigma Performance Services. That was announced in November. You get to the end of January and they say, hey, Sigma pulled out of their deal. We have to field a car this year. Like we're going to field a car this year. Happened just the right time for them to get Nick Sanchez. So that AM Racing is Nick Sanchez in the 25 and Daniel Dye going to be running the 52. Hettinger is the other Ford program. I know it seems like they might be teammates because Ford literally only has those 2 teams.
Yeah.
And Dakota, when the 5 DNQ'd, they literally only had Nick Sanchez while Chevy ran 25 cars or whatever out there. So Ford and O'Reilly, definitely a little complicated this year. My matchup is in the O'Reilly series as well. Going Taylor Gray over Cole Custer, down at -150 over on the score. The number is a little steep, but I went with it in the matchup contest and in the betting card as well. Taylor Gray in that Gibbs 54, of course. Lots of speed here. We talked about it with the 19. Taylor Gray's had a decent start to the year as well. And Custer, a part-time guy down here, not very often, obviously has speed in the O'Reilly cars. I'm not discounting that. I think it's probably a 3rd Haas car out of their shop under the 0 number from SS Greenlight over there. I still think Haas stretched out to a 3rd car, though. I'm not really expecting a lot of optimism for Cole Custer. So at a -150, I like the Gibbs car that I know is going to be fast over the guy who I know is going to be fast, but in a car that I don't think is going to be fast. I'm taking the 54 over the 0 here.
Yeah, I actually like this a lot. I think -150 is a really, really fair number for someone in Taylor Gray, who I'm pretty high on this weekend. So that actually might be one I revisit But a reminder to all the great people we have here, if you guys want to play along in the head-to-head contest, not too late. Again, I got 1 point. I'm probably not going to get one this weekend because that's how things have been going. But, all the people in here, TK, Chamberlain, Stan, Andrew, all the people who are chatting with us on a week-to-week basis, go over there, in-betweenmedia.com/chat. And right now, if you go into the giveaway channel, you can actually get invested with. We're going to give a premium subscription away for the next 4 weeks on the Backroad right here. So if you guys are already tuning into the show, if you're already a part of the conversation, just go over there. It's a real quick, easy way to continue the conversation, to continue to hang out with us and all the amazing community members we have over there. Hopefully getting my plan, and I think we're projected right now to hit triple digits by the Coke 600 or not the Coke 600. Yeah, it's Coke 600 this May. So looking forward to that. But yeah, play along with us. Come get, all the betting cards, all the betting picks, all that good stuff right there for you in-betweenmedia.com/chat.
Yeah, shout out again to Trav for those giveaway spots.
Super cool.
Definitely a lot of fun over there doing that head-to-head matchups contest. And unlike Alex Bowman, who missing a couple of races, he's probably not making the chase this year. You can miss a couple of weeks and still climb up that leaderboard pretty quick. Certainly can pass you pretty easily down there at just one. I've got 3. Chris is the main man, though, 4 for 4, still hitting at a 100% clip. So good for him. All the exciting stuff we got going on. Like we said, the family, you can hop in. Our new channel, _Backroad, if you just want to focus on the racing content.
Yep.
That is over there too. Shorts every week. The occasional, bi-weekly-ish bonus shows we got going over there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the right place to be too, Seth.
Yeah, absolutely will be, man. And Elliot, appreciate everything you do to steer this ship. And, Chris and Rod working hard in the back end. We have great guests on speed dial when we need them, like our boy Brian. And Full Tank Phil. So I appreciate this entire community, man. I appreciate everything we have going on here in between media. If you guys are into NFL, college football betting, PGA betting, entertainment betting, it's all right here on the In Between Media YouTube channel. We also have sub channels for all the shows that you can catch as well. So a lot of fun stuff happening. Appreciate everyone, Elliot, and ready to gear up, man. Ready to gear up and throw and drive here as we head out to Las Vegas, man. Going to be a heck of a time, and hopefully they're just still selling, $3 beers out in that alley, baby.
Fingers crossed, man. Only the Busch Light Tall Boys are
yes.
They're the favorite here for Seth on the program. Thanks for taking a ride down the back road with us. Best of luck in your bets at Vegas. We'll see you next time.